Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm JD Damon.
And it is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky. And first, guys, we want to start off the show by apologizing for not being on last week. JD's first football game on the high school level was last Friday night, and they had their first film session on Sunday. And he just couldn't get out of there, and it was important that they be there for that. So we apologize for that. JD, it was your fault. Would you like to apologize to the people?
I apologize to nobody. No. Yeah, I apologize. I got just caught up over there. And, there was a lot to go over with film. Being the first game, and, we didn't have any scrimmage games. So there was plenty of coaching that needed to be done, so I needed to be there.
It was one thing I realized, JD, is we've been incredibly consistent about doing the show, and it was weird that we didn't do it, and I didn't know what to do with myself Sunday evening because I didn't have anything to edit. I didn't have anything, to review. And then, I was frustrated all week because I didn't get to get on here and voice my displeasure about things or just talk. This has almost become like therapy for me.
Yeah, same, man. But I know I'll text you. I was like, man, I don't think I'll be able to make it today. We can push it back, but it's going to be tough anyway. And we decided not to have the show, and I was kind of lost to it. I got home about 6:30, and I was like, that seems weird. We ain't having this show.
Yeah, Sunday evening for a year, we've done this. Outside of me being on vacation or you being out of town or Brad being gone, we literally have done the show every single week. So we're going live tonight on Facebook just because we didn't get to do a show last week. We thought we would come on Facebook this week and let you guys have the opportunity to comment. And some of the topics that we're going to be discussing, I would actually like to know what you all think. So we wanted to get as much audience participation as we could. JD and I will be monitoring the Facebook feed for questions. So if you've got any or any comments, definitely throw those in. We would love to hear from you. So we'll do some of our housekeeping first. Of course, the race to 250 is on, and JD and I have been going back and forth for really the past 2 weeks, JD. Like, JD would get up, then I would catch up. JD would get up, then I would catch up. And it kept doing that, like this seesaw thing, for probably a week. And then finally, I was able to kind of jump ahead of you a few. So I think I'm at 120, I think. And where are you? Are you at 112?
I'm still 112, yeah.
Okay. So I've got a little bit of a lead, but of course, guys, just a reminder, and we're not joking here. If me and JD both get to 250 on each of our channels, the Jason Damer channel, the Small Town Collectibles channel, as well as the Just Add Bourbon page, which I think is like 123 now or something like that. If all three of those will get to 250, JD and I both will eat a Carolina Reaper live, doing what we're doing right now, except we'll be in the same room and we're going to make Brad come and he can video it and make fun of us because it would be hilarious. And JD's going to wear a Trump Pence shirt. I'm going to wear a Biden Harris shirt. And look, I've been watching those videos, JD. I know we said that, but I've been watching a few more and people have been sending them to me. Dude, I want no part of that Reaper. I don't want no part of that, but I don't want you to do it by yourself and I don't want to do it by myself either. So if we're going to do it, we'll do it together.
Yeah, I agree. But man, every time we talk about this Reaper, my stomach starts getting upset.
My mom said, "You're surely not going to do that, Jimmy Don." She said, "That'll tear your stomach all to pieces." Like my mom's tore up that we might do it.
Yeah. Same. My mom was like, people get really people have problems because of stuff like that. But I've never been a Bryce person, so I don't do that.
So let me ask you a question. So like a lot of the videos I see, they literally eat the whole thing. They just bite it off and eat it and then go. Is that what you're thinking, or are you thinking just taking a bite?
Oh, no. We're going to eat the whole pepper.
We're going to eat the whole pepper? I was hoping I could negotiate to maybe a nibble just to get the...
You got to get the effect, baby. You got to go. You can't go halfway, bro. You got to go all in.
All in, yeah. So, all right. So, look, guys, get out there, subscribe to both of our channels, subscribe to the Just Add Bourbon channel, get us to 250 so that we can embarrass ourselves live on this podcast, and both of us will most likely throw up, and we will probably have Net Care ambulance service on standby just in case. It will be much, or I guess as Eric says, must watch TV. So I see him post that all the time when he posts about the race. So again, check all the channels out. And JD, I actually opened, I was going to tell you this. I mean, I'm such a nerd, but I opened one of the boxes. Like I record all my videos on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then I edit them and then I schedule them, for the next week. And I actually hit the grand prize in one of the boxes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I mean, I got this super cool. Check it out. It'll be the one that drops on Wednesday, but I actually hit the grand prize out of that box. And so it's pretty slick. And what I got was, I mean, if you're like me and a nerd, you'll think it's awesome. So yeah. But anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about, we got the win last week, JD, at Phelps.
Yeah.
We roll into this past Friday night's game against McGoffin County. Very confident.
Yeah.
We go in and we got smashed. It was either 52-8 or 58-8. I mean, we got hammered, and I did not expect that. And JD actually rode home from the game with me, and I've never seen JD like that. I mean, just dejected. So talk to me a little bit about the game and what happened. And then today, I mean, you guys did your film today. What did you see?
So, I mean, let's talk about Phelps first, because let's celebrate the win, man. These kids worked hard. Got a good win at Phelps. That was a better game than I thought it was going to be. I thought we was actually going to do a lot better. We got a lot of young kids, man, and it shows up on Friday night. People are following them and exploiting us because young football players. We're athletic guys. We're just not taking a lot of snaps. But we went for Phelps, got a win, 52-40. And like you said, had a good film session last week. Thought we fixed some things, and we did fix some things, but there's just so much to fix. But so we had a good week of practice. Thought we was going to go to McGoffin County and have some success. Man, they're a lot better than I thought they were.
They were good, man. I mean, they really were. They were good. They looked like a good football team.
Yeah, they are. They're going. I think they're going to be the number 2 in that district, behind Belfry, of course. I mean, they're a good football team, and they're better than us right now. It's just a long end of it. Had film today, and I feel like that. What was lacking on our part, I feel like it was a lot of effort. It was an effort deal. These guys are waiting for somebody else to make the play, I think. We was playing without our best player. That he was banged up.
Right.
And we had to do a lot of things differently because he wasn't there. And I think, there was I know that the score was 56-8, but there were a lot of key plays that really swung things and let the floodgates open up for McGoffin County. Now, if you have,
really, in the first half. Well, in the first half, like going into halftime, we got the ball back. How many times we turned the ball over? Like 8 times?
8 turnovers.
That was crazy. So we had a chance to get within a score at halftime. I mean, first play of the game, dude catches the ball on the kickoff and runs it back.
Yeah. So they scored on the first kickoff. We turned the ball over 8 times, and they returned 2 of them for touchdowns. And we fumbled 2 more times and recovered ourselves. You just can't win a football game like that.
No, you can't, man. I mean, turnovers will kill you. But, I mean, I'm looking forward to who we got next. Bath County?
We got Bath County. We're going to Bath County this Friday.
And they're in our district, right?
It opens up district play. We feel, we still feel like we got a good football team. This year's been weird because we haven't had any scrimmages or anything like that to get these kids coached up. So we're just baptism by fire this year.
Right. And that's hard because we do have a lot. I mean, like you can look at our team and there's talent there. There's size there, there's strength, there's speed. There's a lot of talent on the field.
Right.
And they're essentially having to learn really how to play. The youth is having to learn how to play in live action in an actual football game.
Right. So we got a lot of kids making, a lot of crazy rookie mistakes, taking a bad angle. It's not something that the kid that's played a lot of football would do. But that, we had a kid pinned to the sideline. We laid him off the sideline, and he ends up taking to the house on Friday night. So, a lot of plays like that. We get somebody 3rd and long or 4th and long, and they'll throw the ball up and catch it. And our kid will be in position to make the play. They just can't make it. So we're learning. We're going to move forward. And I think we're still going to have a good season.
I do too. I left there, and you were pretty dejected, obviously, because it had just occurred. Right. And I don't know, like for me, it was an interesting experience. Let me just say why. Because I know JD as you see JD here, and probably a little better than that. That's the first time I've ever really seen you down. You are generally a pretty positive guy.
Yeah.
And, from an outsider looking in, and I know jack about football, But Jay didn't even really want to talk. Like, we talk nonstop when we're together. I mean, we're talking about the show. We're talking about the YouTube channels we're doing. We talk about stuff all the time, politics, whatever. And JD just didn't want to talk. And I was asking questions. And finally, I just quit. I was like, I'm going to leave the man alone. He's hurting. And it's interesting to see it from that side, because you hear about, in sports, you hear about people will say that the losses kill you much more so than the wins elate you. Yeah. And you always remember those losses. And I actually got to see it like firsthand. I'd never experienced anything like that, as far as to really see how a coach feels after a bad loss like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just feel like, you put all this time and effort in, and then you got these expectations, and then things don't go accordingly. It's tough to deal with, man, especially when you think you fixed some issues that you had, and then it turns out you didn't fix them.
Now, are we going to get Logan back?
It'll be a couple weeks.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, he took so you've got to get through a couple of weeks without him. Which
may be end up, at the end of the year being a blessing for us, because we're getting other kids reps, and doing things scheme-wise that we wouldn't normally do. But that's what we got to do. So we're going to try to turn it into a positive.
But yeah, I didn't mean to make this football talk, but I found it, I swear I did. I was like so intrigued when we were riding back about how you were. And like the way, because you could just see it all over you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I've never experienced that. I played sports, and I've taken some losses and things like that. But to see the coach, and you put a lot of time into this, and so does the other staff, and those players do too. It was just interesting to see how you handled it and how you were reacting. Right? It was interesting to me.
I'm not a good loser, man.
Well, I'm not either.
I'm not.
To be honest with you,
I'm not. And that's just how I know, man. I don't accept it. I don't like it. And going forward, we're going to try to get better, man. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we do.
I think we will. I mean, we got a good staff, got a great head coach. You've got a lot of good assistants. You're the D coordinator. We have a good staff, and we've got some athletes. We've got some good kids, and we've got tough kids. And I think that, and you never know, man. Sometimes a loss like that is exactly what you need, because it's a punch in the mouth, and it wakes you up, and you're like, okay, we got to play ball every single time we go out there, and we're going to have to get after it, from this point forward. And hopefully that they respond that way.
Yeah, and we've been kind of spoiled, from last year, man. Like, we had some kids, I could put them out there, and I didn't have to worry about them. They knew what was going on. They had high football IQ, and they're good athletes. And, we don't necessarily have that many of those kids, replacing them. So we've got to try to raise it. That's why these film sessions are so important, because we got to try to raise our football IQ, and I think film is the best way to do it.
Now, have you gotten that yet, where you can actually, see the film on the sideline, where you can have you gotten that yet, or can you only use that at home?
No, that started Friday. We actually got the huddle assist and huddle sideline. So now during the game, we can film the play, and the film downloads and send straight to the iPad, and I can watch the play down on the sideline.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. So we actually got a thing that's called a huddle goal line too, where you get the end zone view of the field, and so you can see where everybody's lining up and how you got to block things and what plays are best to run, so you get a real idea of how plays should work, And so this could be a real advantage for us. We didn't get to use that Friday. We're still figuring out the technology, but this could be a good thing to have going forward.
That's cool, man. Good. All right, so we'll get off that. Like I said, it was very interesting. And I appreciate, JD got me into the game and was able to go watch, especially during the pandemic. And that was interesting to see too.
Yeah.
Just how, like, you guys, after the game was over, I thought it was cool. Everybody kind of held their helmets up across the field instead of going out and shaking hands and doing what you normally do. Everybody just kind of stays apart. Most everybody had their masks on. It was, it was interesting, like coming in. We had to stop, and they had a list, and they took all of our temperatures in order. It was kind of crazy, but that's what we're dealing with right now. And I imagine it'll be very similar, when we play here at home in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to do all those things, but it's just part of the deal, man. That's what we got to do to play. That's what we're going to do. I'm just glad we have some sports back and some normalcy back in our life, man. So,
well, I've actually got my TV on back here, and I've got the Ravens Texans game on. And it's just nice, dude, on a Sunday after family dinner to get to come in and turn some football on. The Cats start next weekend.
Yeah, real football starts next week.
I mean, the Cats play Auburn on the road at Auburn. I think it starts at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'll get my day going early. I will not be going anywhere. It is time. It's college football season.
SEC
And
football, baby.
so, we talked a little bit about the ticket situation.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of share because we got the email this week and found out exactly what's going to happen with our tickets. So they essentially gave you three options. You could donate what you paid this year. So for us, it's about
Jimmy Don's a season ticket over at the University of Kentucky.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. For the University of Kentucky games, I've had season tickets, God, since I started making money. Since I got out of college and actually had any money, I've had season tickets. I've sat through some crazy seasons. So UK hadn't really commented on what they were going to do. We knew that the capacity would probably be about 20%. We paid for our tickets back in like April. So they were paid for. They finally came out and said, JD, you basically have three options. You can donate all the money. Thank you if you would do that, donate all the money. Then you're ranked by your K-Fund points. And basically tickets, there are no season tickets this year. So you can just donate your money and then you go in order for your K-Fund. And then if there are any games left, you get the opportunity to purchase at least 2 games. Then, or you can roll all your money over to next year and, just goes there, but you lose your place in line for the tickets this year. Or you can get a full refund and you lose your place in line. So those were really the three options, and so Wells and I think we come up, it might've been yesterday, is when we came up. I haven't talked to him, and we were going to look and see if we could get Georgia tickets. And if we can get Georgia tickets, then we'll pick Georgia and another game and go. But if we can't, we're just going to roll everything over till next year and just call it a year and watch them all at home.
Right. Hey, man, they don't know that either because it's the best seats in the house, too. Well, not the best seats. It's awesome to be at, Kroger Field. But, I mean, sometimes, man, I've been to scouting or athletic events sometimes, and I'm like, man, I wish I just stayed home and watched this on TV because sometimes it's a mess, man. And,
well,
I don't know if the atmosphere is going to be quite as good.
Well, it'll be different, I think. Like, I'd almost like to go just to see what it's like. Now, I mean, I know what it's like. I was at the Vandy game, Jokers, last year.
Yeah.
And there was less than that, less than 18,000 in place. So, and it kind of sucked, you don't get to tailgate. You don't get to do anything. The normal football experience isn't there. But Kroger Field, Commonwealth Stadium, that's my happy place. Like, I love it. Like, I look forward to it every year. Wells and I both live very busy lives. He's been my best friend since I was that tall. And that we talk almost every week, but we don't really see each other that much until football season. When football season starts, we're at each other's houses. We're going to the games. And so I always just look forward to it because I know I get to hang out with him too. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I think we should do a game companion, man. Instead of watching like the UFC fights commentating, I think we should do like a UK game companion and like have a party and watch the game and like talk about the game while it's going on.
We might do that. That could be fun.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I think that'd be a lot of fun, man. Just sit around and talk about the ball game and we'll cook a little bit. Yeah, just hang out and watch the game. I think that'd be fun. We'll definitely I like that idea, JD. I think we should do that. That could be fun. So, all right. So let's get into some of our topics this week. We actually do have some topics this week. First, I know I want to, and I know we lost somebody this week that was very important to our country. That was Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, historical figure on the Supreme Court. And JD, I'm sure, I know you would like to comment too, but it was a big loss for the Supreme Court, and which will kind of lead us into the first topic of conversation. So go ahead and say what you wanted to say. No,
just, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, trailblazer, man. That's all you can say about, somebody like that who become into justice when the popular time for a woman to be in control of anything or on the boards of anything, I think it just really speaks to what extraordinary woman she was. She's definitely be missed.
Is she the only woman on the court? Is there another one?
No, I think there's another one.
I think there is too. Okay, I wasn't sure. But definitely when she came in, dude, it wasn't it wasn't the time, when that was, really an accepted thing like anything else. And she came in. There's actually a movie about her. I haven't watched it, but I may check it out now just to learn a little more, historically about her.
On the Basis of Sex or something like that, it's called, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah. I haven't watched either about that. It's very interesting to me, man. Anybody who's a trailblazer, the first to do something, man, that interests me. And I think, a lot of women, if you're a CEO, you're a woman, or you run your own business, you're a woman, if you're a doctor or you're a woman, you've done these things. I mean, you ought to thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was one of those people that really set the standard for women and what they can do in this country. And, it's a sad loss, man, for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we should. I mean, we talk politics on it. We talk about everything, but we talk a lot of politics. And that was something that happened this week that I thought we at least should mention, because she was such a trailblazer for women. And as the father of daughters, a lot of the things that our daughters will be able to do in the future are directly because of the things that she was able to do in her life.
Absolutely.
And so I got a lot of respect for that lady, always have. So that kind of leads us to the political talk, so to speak, is immediately, and I thought this was in poor taste, but Mitch McConnell actually put out something almost immediately after it was announced that said, we will have a vote for a new Supreme Court justice on the Senate floor. And JD and I actually talked a little bit about this Friday night coming home from the game. I said, if I'm not mistaken, McConnell was the one that held up the Supreme Court justice being nominated in Obama's, the end of his presidency.
Yes.
And JD and I, and I'll make sure I'm right in this, JD, but you agree that if somebody passes away like Ruth Bader Ginsburg did, the president has the right, even if it's a lame duck or even it's in the last year of his presidency, to nominate someone for the Supreme Court.
Sure.
But McConnell set a precedent.
Absolutely.
With Obama by not allowing that to happen. So JD and I may actually have some common ground here. I like consistency. If it's okay for one, it's okay for the other. Or if it's not okay, it's not okay.
Right.
But McConnell says they're going to push this through and get another justice on. What do you think about that?
I don't expect anything less out of Mitch. I think Mitch is a real piece of garbage, honestly. I think he's divisive, and I think he's wanting to serve his own interests. He's self-serving, and I think that if he held off a Senate vote for 342 days during Obama's last year and before the election in 2016, because he says that the American people should have the right to decide these kind of things at the ballot, at the ballot box, at the electoral with the election. So if the president has been set, then let's set the president. Let's continue to do what we have always done.
So JD,
okay,
go ahead.
Harry Reid set a president way before Mitch did. I'm not aware of what he's talking about. I don't know.
I'm not either. And Gene, if you don't care, expand on that. I'd like to know a little more about that.
Yeah, Gene. But if you're going to say it's not okay for a Democratic president to nominate a judge during his last year in office or during the election year, then when the Republican is in office, then it should be the same exact way, period. Point blank, nothing else. This guy was a Senate Majority Leader at that time. He's the Senate Majority Leader now. Nothing's changed. There's no reason that this president should change.
So let me ask you this, JD. If what Gene is saying is correct, if Harry Reid set the same precedent, does that change your feelings at all about Mitch then now switching back?
No.
Like, say Harry Reid, wouldn't allow a Supreme Court justice to be appointed, and then Mitch just did what he did, to Obama. Does that change your mind at all about the president was saying right is right and wrong is wrong?
Right is right, wrong is wrong, man. It don't change my mind a bit. Like, it might be different if Mitch McConnell wasn't the Senate Majority Leader. If there was another Senate Majority Leader that wanted to change that precedent, I might have some pause to allow that to happen. But this is the guy who was out in the front lines saying that we need to hold up on, appointing a judge. So, in my opinion, it's it's a precedent that's been set, and we should continue to do it.
I just want it to be consistent.
I think it's a silly precedent. Just to be honest with you, I think it's silly.
So Gene's saying Harry Reid pushed through where the Senate only needs 51 votes and not 60 any longer.
I don't know what that matters.
Well, I don't know that necessarily, Gene. I don't know that I agree that applies here. Like I said, I like consistency.
Well,
if you're going to do it this way, if Mitch did this to Obama and said, nope, you can't do it, fine. They're elected. That's what they're there for, is to do this. But now that you've got the same situation in, an election year where, and it's your guy, you can't just change. I mean, I know that's politics, I guess, but I just don't agree with that. I think consistency is what matters. Now, do I want a more conservative justice on the court? Yes. Would it be my preference that Trump get to select that justice? Yes, rather than Biden? Yes, it would be. It would be my preference because I want a more conservative justice on the court. But you still, if a rule is a rule is a rule.
Right.
And if you set that precedent, I just think you ought to follow it.
I think what's dangerous, man, I may be silly for even bringing this up. I almost think it's dangerous to go against that president because I feel like you're putting targets on the conservative judges' backs then. Like if Biden was to win this election and they fill that seat, it's like, man, there's some crazy people out there that might attack these conservative judges. So Biden can, put more liberal judges on the court. I think we're smarter to wait.
And I mean, and like I said, there is the reason that's that way is, you're going to have swings in the court where it's a little more conservative, versus a little more liberal. And that's fine. That's what it was designed to be. Right. I don't think you necessarily need to split it right down the middle. You'd never get anything ruled on, number one, in today's current climate. But, two, it's just, though it's just the rule. Whatever the rule is, follow it. And if Mitch set that precedent, then I like I said, as much as I would love to see another conservative judge on the court, he set the precedent. I don't, like I said, I just want consistency. That's all I want for my people in government. Be consistent. And if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Just that's all I want.
If it's wrong for the other guys, it's wrong for your guys. It's just the way it is. Right.
So look, JD and I found something we agree on. Look at that. Right. So, and this, I made the comment just a second ago, the divisiveness. And JD and I had a little homework this week, and we watched a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. And I got to be honest, JD, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. And if you haven't watched it, it's essentially you had all these top executives from Facebook, Google, Twitter, who else? Instagram. I mean, you had all these people. They even had the guy on there that helped develop the monetization of Facebook.
Yeah.
And what it essentially...
Director of Monetization was his title, I think, right?
Yeah, Director of Monetization. So you had some really high-level people in these companies who were basically coming out and saying, look, you don't realize it, but your time is a commodity.
Well.
And your phone, these apps, all these things that we are used to doing, like my phone, it's like Pavlov's dog. My phone beeps and I pick it up and do this.
Yeah.
They're competing. Advertisers are competing for your time.
Yeah. We
are actually a product. We, the people.
That's what I got out of it too. That's what the one thing that was said that really stuck with me was, if you ever get anything for free, a product for free, then you're actually the product.
I thought that was an interesting too. I mean, I was like, holy crap, because it made me check. Have you ever thought of it that way before, JD? Like really. We were a product?
No, I knew that my information was, but not my time, and it's amazing, man, how smart these people are. These engineers are, putting together these algorithms and it shows, kind of the thought process. And I think it was like overly stated, I think, but it would show the conversation, these people going back and forth on Facebook, and they're like, oh my God, now Jason's not engaged anymore. What happened to him? Let's throw some dots up there so he knows that somebody's writing back to him or trying to keep my time, trying to keep me hung up on what's going on Facebook. And I'm, definitely guilty of that.
Well, me too. I mean, as far as like even the thumbs up button, the like button, and I'm going to make my girls watch it. Like we may watch it tonight. about how it's become a thing for kids of whether you're popular or not, and they're almost addicted to how many likes they get.
Yeah.
Even me, how often do you go and check to see how many subscribers that we have on YouTube?
Pretty often.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll wake up in the middle of the night, JD. This is how sick I am. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and wake up and I'll reach over and grab my phone and go look at YouTube and see if I got any new subscribers on the small town page.
Really? No, I'm not doing that. But like if I got a notification, like I rolled over in the middle of the night and see my phone or touch my phone, grab my phone and see I got a notification on Facebook. And I open that bad boy up and check it out and see what's going on.
Me too. And, like I always like to look and see, have I had any sales on eBay? Do I have any new watchers? Do I have anything, like that? And those notifications are designed to get you to pick up your phone and look. And it is so, like they created, like a lot of people talk about AI and are worried that AI, artificial intelligence, is going to take over the world. It already has, because they build these algorithms that become their own monsters. And really from the political landscape, JD, I don't know that, I kind of knew this, but as far as it's designed to do so is it keeps us all in this bubble where everything that we read or we hear will generate a certain opinion.
Right.
Whether, like, if I like Trump, for example, I like Trump and I think that everything's a conspiracy, I think all this stuff, then the algorithm is designed to feed it to me.
Yeah.
Same as on where JD's more liberal than I am. JD is reading liberal takes or liberal websites or liberal different things. And so it starts feeding you all those things that foster those beliefs that you have. And it has created, maybe inadvertently, I don't listen to those guys talk. Well, listen to those guys talk. I felt like they said, look, I don't think anybody had like the evil master plan that we're going to separate everybody and cause this thing to fall apart when they started the social media.
Right.
But because of the algorithms they built to buy your time so that you look at this thing when it beeps and, when they can, advertisers can put their ads out there for you to look at, it has created that.
Yeah.
Because you never get to see anything unless you seek it. You never get to see a divisive opinion on anything you look at.
Right. That was one of they're keeping us divided, man, because they want to sell for time. They want to keep your emotions up. They want to keep you engaged. They want to keep you fired up at the other side. They want to develop tribes, make people travel. And one of the things that was said that I thought was interesting. What was it? Lord, I lost my mind. He talked about in tribalism. Oh, yeah, like I could read something and think about the people on the right being so stupid. Don't they have the same information I got? But the truth is, they're not reading the same information I got.
That's right.
Something totally different, and we're all, going off in our little tribes. And I believe with these guys, so I'm going to, become this, and this is what I stand for. Well, I believe this, and this is what I stand for. So, and it's by design, and they also showed some of those countries, man, they've been absolutely torn apart.
Because of the information they're reading.
Absolutely.
It's happening to us right now.
Absolutely is. And the guy said there's no way within 3 years, if we don't do something different, there will be a civil war.
Yeah, and they said that was their biggest fear, is that there would be a civil war. Because, like, I'll give you an example, JD, of something that, because I do look at more conservative, viewpoints, because that's more what I believe than the liberal. Now, I do have certain people that I follow that I don't agree with anything they say. But that's part of what we're doing, right? Yeah, so that we can have this perspective and discussion, so that I know a little more about why you think the way you think, and maybe in doing what we're doing here, we create an avenue for people to kind of hear both sides.
Sure.
But I follow people that I don't agree with, just for that reason, because I don't want to be just hemmed into a bubble, because I'm not always going to be right. I like to look at all the information and try to make it an intelligent decision for myself. But at that same time, where I read a lot of the conservative stuff, that, like the protests, for example, okay, not protests. The protests are fine. I got no problem with protests.
Sure.
The riots.
Okay.
The rioting, the looting. My feed will be full of that stuff. I'll talk to somebody like the guy that works for me, Ken. He's very liberal. And I'm like, well, what about this? Well, none of that stuff's going on. I'm like, yes, it is, dude. I mean, it's going on. Are you not seeing this? He's not.
Right. He's not seeing it at all. That's all you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's all Fox News is talking about, and that's all. And CNN is not talking about it at all. So
it's just like coronavirus.
Sure.
Like the Democratic convention, they didn't talk about it. They didn't talk about the riots. They talked about coronavirus. At the Republican convention,
they didn't say coronavirus.
They didn't say coronavirus. They talked about the riots.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, man, if people are going to have to start waking up, I recommend everybody go watch that documentary because it kind of blew my mind. Like I was like, holy crap.
It definitely will. And you're right, man. Like, we need to be aware that we're being played like that because at least you're aware of it. You know, I'm not saying that I'm some woke person, but to see that these people are designing the technology that we're using to divide us so they get more of our time and so they keep us, you know, bickering with each other so they get more of our time so they can sell us more stuff.
And this is the other thing. This is the other thing that blew my mind.
Pizzagate.
Well, Pizzagate was one of those, like, but I actually believe there's some truth to that.
I know.
There's my tinfoil hat. But no, these people do not allow their children, the people who are in this business, do not allow their children to have social media, iPhones, all these things. They take great, great precaution in how they let their children consume social media, consume their phones, all those things, because they know they helped design it.
Oh, the guy from Pinterest, did you see him?
Mm-hmm.
The guy from Pinterest would work all day, you know, in the Pinterest office, running Pinterest, and come home and spend hours through Pinterest. He was designing, you know, to keep people addicted, and he was addicted himself to this.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, and I'm as
That's
bad
how
as
powerful
anybody.
it is, though. That's how powerful these algorithms really are.
And like at the very end, like when it's going off, they're asking them, well, what should you do? And so as the credits are kind of rolling, and they're like, well, turn your notifications off. If you're going to look on your own accord. Don't look because they're telling you to look.
Right.
And what was the other, you know, limit your kids' social media time. Like after a certain time, the phones are up. Like Amy and I are going to, like Amy watched it with me and we're going to watch it with the kids. And like, I mean, I legit think that we're probably going to do something like that where at 9:00, the phones, mine included, are put up and done till the next morning.
Right.
And, you know, so because they're going to be at school, hopefully on the 28th and kind of get back to a normal routine. But, you know, limiting the time. And that really stood out to me is these people don't let their children do this because they're the ones who create it and they know what it is.
And they know how powerful it is, man. Yeah. It's, I mean, it's weird how the social media has become so powerful so fast. And I don't really think we understand. There's no way we can understand really the long-term effects. And I think, you know, they was talking about the suicide rate in the preteen girls was like up 189% or something like that.
That graph that they showed how like over time it was always like this, right? Yeah. But then they stretched it down, or it basically at the invent of social media, the suicide rate went like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And
crazy.
But what's the long term? Like, this is the first group that's really had social media all their life, man. Mm-hmm. Coming up now. Me and you didn't have it. It was in 20s and 30s, you know.
Yeah.
So what's the long term effects of these things? You know, one of them that I think we've talked about here before. You know, kids being bullied. You know, I'm a totally anti-bullying guy. But you know, people used to go to school and get bullied, and then you come home and you're just done with it. You know, you come home and you're with your family, and that's what it was. And you go back to school and you get bullied, so whatever. But now, between the game lobbies on the Xboxes and the PlayStations, and the social media on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these other mediums, the person that's getting bullied, man, is getting bullied 24/7.
They can't get away from it.
You can't escape it. So.
And that's awful, man. And well, like you see all these people like they're influencers, right? And you've got these girls. Like I always kind of reference the girl thing because I have daughters, and that's what I worry about.
Also, go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Right? Yeah. Subscribe to all our social media, please. We send alerts. We're vying for your time too. But one of the things that worries me is how my daughters view themselves based on what they see online with filters and things like that. Do they have a misconstrued conception of how things really are?
Well,
these girls don't really look like that.
A Snapchat dysphoria, or I think they was calling it, or Snap dysphoria, or where people are wearing all these filters and they don't even look real, man.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
I've got a girl on my Facebook who was called out for having a filter on her picture, and she was like, "I don't have a filter," and I know she had a filter on her, but she just wouldn't admit it. Like, you definitely don't really look like that girl. We know you in real life, but yeah, man, it's tough.
Does that worry you, like with Haley? Because I worry about it with Ashton, as far as like, well, you don't get enough likes on Instagram. They're like that right now, dude. They'll check. Oh, how many likes did you get?
I'm prone to that, man.
Me too.
When I put up a YouTube video, oh man, I got another like. Oh, somebody's commented.
But I'm also, I'm 45, dude, and you're 40. They're babies. I mean, their brains aren't even developed yet, and their perception of how things really are. Yeah. They don't understand yet. And maybe it is, though. Maybe it is in the world. It means something. I don't know. Like that one, that worries me.
It's tough, man. But, and I think one of the guys made a good point, too, though, that, this is just a new thing. At one time, the printing press was a new thing. The printing press was a new thing at one time. And then newspapers got big. And then magazines came along. And then the telephone book. People had telephones. And that was the thing that people were worried about, our televisions, and then so this is just a new thing, and we'll figure it out. But
I mean,
it causes a lot of harm quick. That's what I'll say.
Well, and the thing is that they want to self-regulate themselves.
Yeah, that's not
right. I mean, like there needs to be some regulation. People have to figure this out, or we are going to end up in a civil war if people don't figure out that. Look, this is causing harm. Like I can't even believe that they got this documentary made.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like
there's a major kickback about that, don't you?
Yeah. So I want to move on. I could talk about this all night because I'm like, this really worries me, but I do want to talk about, Netflix. And there was a big blowback over another documentary that they put out called Cuties. Yeah. And like, I have refused to watch it, but I kept seeing it on social media that, look, I'm canceling my Netflix. They are exploiting young children. And you said that you kind of started it, right? Just to see what it was so you could be informed to talk about it on here.
Right. So, I mean, you know me, man. I want to make an informed decision. If I'm going to talk about something, I want to be informed about it. So I decided I was going to watch it because I don't want to take people's word for it. I want to know for myself. So I got about 10, 15 minutes into it. And honestly, the 10 to 15 minutes I was into it wasn't that bad. I didn't see anything out of the way, but the movie was just bad to me, and I turned it off. But I plan on picking it back up. Because I've talked to some people I respect, and I've actually had people tell me that it's not as bad as people are demonizing it. And I've also had a person tell me that, that it's not even the storyline that's so bad; it's that the way that it was shot. The camera was zooming in on a young girl's crotch and stuff like that, which is totally inappropriate. So I don't know yet, man. I want to check it out. I want to try to get through it. I've had one woman tell me her husband, he had to get up and walk out of the room because he just couldn't stand to watch it, But I also don't want to come off as a creep, like,
right.
To tell people I watched it, but I'm going to watch it, man, because I feel like I want to be informed. I want to know if this is like a real legit thing or is there something more to it? Because you can make a movie about things and not condone it. We watched Philadelphia. We watched Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. They weren't trying to get people to go out to get AIDS. But they wanted to educate people about AIDS,
Right.
And so I don't know exactly how this film was shot and what their intention was, but I would like to watch it and see.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm actually waiting on your review because I am like, I'm not going to watch it. Based on what I've been told. Same thing. I talked to some people who had viewed it that I respect, and they were like, look, it's trash. I cancel my Netflix subscription. And if Netflix is promoting that kind of thing, I can't be a part of that, right? So at least one of us on here can be informed and and kind of know what it is, because I'm just not going to watch it because and like you told me I'm going to watch it, dude, so that when we talk about it on the show, or you're basically doing it's like show prep. You're going to watch it so that we can tell people here's what we saw.
Yeah, that definitely works for me. But the thing is, man, like it's weird because I see some of these people, trashing cuties, but I've seen their daughters out in public. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen what my daughters were in public before. That I was like, oh my god.
Right.
I mean, I don't think it's okay, but like, where do we draw that line, man? I don't know. Like, when does it become pedophilia? When does it become exploiting children? Stuff, man, stuff.
Well, did you see that out in California where they're trying to, it's not been passed, but they're trying to get it on the ballot that a child is of age at 8 years old?
I mean, I also heard that was untrue. I don't know if it's true or not. So
I don't know if it's true or not either. I never looked it up. Somebody told me that they were trying to get it on the ballot that, I thought, well, here you go, California,
I think that's some people just not knowing what they're talking about, honestly.
Okay.
Maybe I don't think it's true.
Maybe we'll do some homework on that and bring that one back up next week and try to confirm whether or not that's true. Yeah. Because I did hear that. I was just wondering if you heard it.
But I watched Dance Moms. And then those kids are running around half naked, with workout or sports bras on and short shorts, tight shorts, show everything they've got.
Don't make me talk about that. I watched Dance Moms. I mean,
I watched it. I used to watch it. And so was that encouraging pedophilia?
Well, I don't think they were zooming in on the crotch when they were, shooting it. It was more about the dancing and all that stuff.
Well, I know one time they went to what's the dance school in New York that's real big.
Oh, I know this. I've been there. Ashton and them dance there.
Anyway, they go there one time and the little girl shakes her butt. And the judge actually said to her, "Whoever told you to do that, tell them they're stupid. Whoever told you to shake your bum, tell them I said they're dumb. And it showed her shaking her butt,
Yeah.
Making sexualized movements, I don't know. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I mean, you can take anything though, man, like that. Like, and I watched Jason, the Friday the 13th, but I don't want to be a serial killer. I don't want to kill nobody,
Right.
I don't know. I got to see how shot.
Well, it's almost like, I think somebody told me it's like they were making content for pedophiles.
Yeah, I had to see that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it's interesting though, because there's been a ton. That's a big thing in this country right now. There's been a lot of arrests. That is true for these sex rings with young children and, different things and anything like that. I'm just so against, man. And I know you are too.
Yeah, sure.
It's just, it bothers me.
I want to take the real problem. I feel like a lot of, I've got a lady who's a social worker, works with a lot of unfortunate, kids, underprivileged children who thinks all these conspiracy theories are taken away from the real problems. These things that they can't prove, like Pizzagate maybe.
Right.
They're taken away from, the kids that are really having serious problems, the real problems. And these conspiracy theories are pulling attention away from the real serious problem. And so I think that's an important thing we need to keep in mind too. Like, is this thing a real thing? I don't know. It could be, but I'm going to check it out. I can't hardly believe that Netflix would try to get away with something like that.
Yeah, me either. Like I said, I'm interested to see. Like, I'll be disappointed because I watch a lot of shows on Netflix. Like, I watch a lot of Netflix content, and I would, but if it's truly that, then that's not something that I can support. That's one of those things that you can support things with your dollar. Like, Netflix shares were way down. Like, they were losing a lot of subscribers. That's real. And I don't know. Like I said,
it's interesting to see how many of those people have actually watched it and checked it out for themselves.
Right. Or just
took somebody else's word for it.
Right. And that's a good possibility. So that's your homework, JD, is to watch that, and then we'll come back and discuss. I may watch it too, just because, so that we can both talk about it.
Right. One thing we didn't talk about bringing up, but I just now remembered. Did you see what the FBI director said this week about Antifa?
Oh yeah, I saw that you made a post that said they weren't an organization.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I know he's the FBI director, and he probably has more information than I do.
He definitely does.
They have a freaking manual.
They got a book. Some guy wrote a book. That don't mean they're an organization, man.
I mean, they're probably not a 503c or a Schedule C corporation or anything, but you can't tell me that they're not organized in some way. They're showing up to me places and creating havoc. They're organized.
Yeah, well, they're not an organization.
Since organization, they're organized. You don't like. You're not just showing up.
Who's the president?
Who is? Oh, I don't know.
I mean, so we could go find out who the eminent archon of the KKK is, right? We can go find it.
The definition of organization is being organized. And these people aren't just randomly showing up and raising hell in places because they're not organized. Like they're just randomly, like me and JD show up somewhere and decide we're going to burn a building down. There is some place where that information is being fed from that, hey, we're going to meet here.
So that's a very loose definition of organization. I mean, an organization to me has a hierarchy, people in control, people calling shots, people who are followers. That's an organization.
I think that's what they have.
I don't think
who that person is, I don't know. The
director says it's not, though.
I mean, I've been told it's George Soros. I don't know.
Yeah, George Soros is the root of all problems. I know.
Yeah. So I don't know, but no, I absolutely like. I mean, you know, the FBI director says that, then I should take pause because he obviously knows more than I do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they might not be a Schedule C corp or have a defined president, but they are absolutely organized. And just like Black Lives Matter, that's one of the biggest problems with Black Lives Matter is they're not
an organization,
but they're an organization. There are people who do that, but they're not truly organized in the right way. That's why maybe that you have some of the problems you do, and that may be why Antifa is so.
Because they're not organizations. That's why they're having the problems they're having. They would be better off. Black Lives Matter needs to get organized, also, in my opinion. But whatever. Antifa is an ideal, though. It's just an ideal of being anti-fascist,
Yeah, and they have a philosophy. I mean, they got a manifesto. They got a book. Don't
be a fascist.
Yeah, but who's being fascist? Like they're in here, they're burning cities down. Who's being fascist?
People who are discriminating against other people. That's who's being fascist. Cops, for one, have been a particular group that has been fascist or known to be. White males, a lot of them are fascists.
The silence is deafening.
Yeah.
This is one of those we're not going to agree on, so we won't argue about it.
I've got the FBI director on my side, and you don't.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that we need to get to, man. Like, in my opinion, like all opinions aren't equal. This guy knows. If anybody knows, there's nobody whose opinion is going to carry more weight than this guy's. This guy is the director of our national intelligence.
So, all right, well, let me throw this one at you. So Trump says they're an organization.
Right.
And by your definition, Trump would know more than the FBI director.
No, that's not true because Trump is an intelligence guy. Trump should listen to the intelligence guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that goes to Trump, and Trump should go, oh, yeah, you're right. But that's not what he's doing. And now he's going, I know more than you do.
But how do you know that? How do you know that Trump's just going, He's saying they're an organization. They clearly are burning buildings down.
Because the FBI director said they wouldn't. That's why I know he's not. That's why I know he's not doing it, because he's still saying they are.
All right. So president, FBI director.
So, but the president is an intelligence guy, right? He should listen to the intelligence, but he's not gathering intelligence.
But he's also getting intelligence from all those other places other than the FBI.
Right, but he doesn't. Does President Trump know how to interpret intelligence, you think? Or does the director do that for him and then tell him what it means?
Right. So you're okay. All right. Like I said, I'm just saying, by your definition, if I got the president on my side, you got the FBI director. I don't know.
Right. But who's more? One of them has a bias. One of them has a reason for a bias. One of them doesn't. Who would that be?
I don't know. I don't know the FBI director and what his biases are.
Well, he's Trump's guy. Trump hired this guy.
Right.
He's right. So if he wanted to police Trump, which we all know how easy that would be to say, yeah, they're a terrorist organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
But since he's not doing that, I feel like that he must not have that bias, and he must be looking at it objectively, and comes to the conclusion that isn't popular for the president.
I might have to go into what he said because I have no clue. I'm arguing with you, and I have no clue what he even said. But I'm just arguing with him for the sake of arguing with you. But I will go, and we'll come back to that too, because I honestly, maybe I have a social dilemma. Maybe I'm being told, and everywhere that I read that, that's the case. Maybe what you're reading is telling you that he said this, but he actually said something different when it is. That's the problem.
Right.
Is nobody knows what's true.
Right.
That's the whole problem.
We talked about this very early on in the podcast about us being the wild, wild west. Do we need to regulate it? Do we just let people, post whatever and say whatever and do whatever? And I just think it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. I'm glad people have opinions. I'm glad we can express those opinions. But also, like I said a minute ago, opinions ain't always equal.
Right.
If somebody's got a lot more intelligence about this subject than another person does, then we ought to, give that person the credit they deserved and maybe change our opinion.
Yeah, and I mean there is that's good advice, but like I said, when I'm hearing Trump, who outranks the FBI director, Barr, who outranks the FBI director, all those guys,
non-intelligence.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just figuring that Trump's getting his information from more than one place, and he's making a better informed decision. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, because Trump makes great decisions.
Like I said, man, I think so. I think he has made a lot of good decisions. And
also made a lot of terrible ones.
He's made some bad ones, for sure. Yeah. But he
made some good ones, for sure. I think the bad outweigh the good by far, in my opinion.
And I feel the other way. I feel like the good outweighs the bad. So, all right, let's talk about a couple more things. We're running short on time. This one flew by tonight. This has been a fun one. Yeah. So I say it every week. It's the best one we've ever done, JD. But, I mean, I just have so much fun. And I think where we didn't get to do it last week, I missed you. So, all right. So a couple things we were going to talk about real quick is, one, we were going to do a Trump and a Biden. And so it was Kamala Harris was giving us a speech, and she was reading off a teleprompter. And she said, the Harris administration. Well, about 4 or 5 days later, Biden is giving a speech, reading off a teleprompter. And he says, the Harris administration with Joe Biden. And I forget exactly how Harris. So we've talked about this. When Brad was coming on with us regular, he actually said that he didn't know if we would get through the Democratic convention with Biden being the nominee. Do you think that they are, or do you think this is a conspiracy? I mean, they clearly said it. They read off a teleprompter, so it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't like a Freudian slip, so to speak. Do you think they're just getting us prepared if Biden wins, that he may win and then have to step down for a medical reason, and Kamala Harris is our new president?
I don't think that's true. It could be. I mean, I think if it was, I don't think they would even. I think they'd be particularly anal about not making that mistake. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, but it was on a teleprompter. They read it. It was clear, and Biden did it too. That's what kind of blew my mind.
And here's something else you got to consider. I've not seen this, obviously, so I'm speaking out of turn maybe. But I know this is already Trump's got in trouble for doctoring footage of Joe Biden and sending it out. And he just did it again last week. So is this one of those deals?
I heard this on CNN, MSNBC. It was one of those that I actually heard it. I couldn't believe they covered it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I actually heard it on a legit. It wasn't from a Trump, like Twitter thing or anything. I actually heard it on the news.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. But I don't think, man. I don't think. And we'll never know. We don't know. Is it very possible? I mean, he's 78 years old. It's very possible he doesn't make it through his first term.
Oh, do you think that he should go on Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan has invited Trump and Biden to come to a show and debate.
I hope Joe Rogan moderates the debate. I think that would be amazing.
Me too. Because here's the thing about Rogan. If there was a Joe Rogan party, I might join it, because Joe Rogan, he's real. He's real. And if he thinks you're, talking BS, like if Trump starts talking BS like Trump is prone to do, Rogan will call him out.
Yeah. Chris Wallace will too.
Yeah, Wallace will too. And he would do the same thing to Biden. If Biden kind of starts drifting off, like we've seen him do, kind of losing his train of thought, things like that, Rogan will call it out. Like, he'll be very, very in the middle. I would love to see him moderate.
Yeah, I think he would be too. I'm not sure we could find anybody better to do it, really. I think Rogan would be perfect.
I do too. So what was the Trump thing?
Him saying he didn't, he knew COVID was serious, but he didn't want to put Americans in a panic.
Well, I figure there's some truth to that.
What?
I mean, he said it.
He's trying to get us in a panic. It's all he's done. He's saying that if you blame Joe Biden, your America is going to get burned.
No, there's a fact. Now, this is just talking specifically about COVID.
Right.
But I could see, because I think it happens all the time, where if we really knew what was going on all the time, we would be freaked out. Like if we really knew what was happening with the Middle East or, with whoever, whatever, just fill in the blank with something crazy that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know about, that if we knew everything, that we would stay in a constant state of panic.
That's probably true. But a pandemic is one of those things that we need to know about, and so we can protect ourselves and the loved ones, right?
Right.
Whether it's a panic or not. I mean, what's important is that we do the things we need to do to get through the daggone thing, and we need our leader to grow some balls and tell us that this is a bad thing.
I had somebody pose a question to me about the pandemic this week that I've been trying to remember to ask you to see what you thought.
Okay.
So they said, look, if this thing is so bad, they're really pushing the mask wearing, right?
Sure.
Like in hospitals where you have hazardous waste or biohazard, there is a lot of care taken to make sure that is disposed of correctly.
Right.
If coronavirus is so bad, then why are we not being instructed to, like, we wear a mask, we need to get rid of that thing, and there's a certain way that it needs to be handled and discarded of. Don't wear it more than one time. Why aren't we being instructed on that? I thought that was an interesting question.
Well, I think it's an interesting question, but I think the way the virus is transmitted is through the spittle, right? Your spit.
Mm-hmm.
So if the mask catches the spit, then the mask is throwing the garbage dump or just the garbage can in the kitchen, you're not going to be contaminated by with the spit. Or if you just wash it, you're not going to be contaminated with it. So I don't see the need for.
I don't know. I thought it was an interesting question.
It is an interesting question, but
yeah. I mean, we could do 1,000 of those of, why not do this? But I heard it. Someone asked JD. I meant to ask you Friday night. And then I forgot because we were worried about all that other stuff. So, all right, man, it's time. We've already killed an hour, JD. I can't believe it. But guys, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate all the support that we're getting. I know we've said this before. What is it?
Have you seen our reviews on iTunes? On our Apple podcast, the reviews, we got like 40 reviews, man. Like, it's pretty cool.
Well, that is cool. And like I said, the support that we're getting from everybody, we were laughing because Haley rode to the game with me the other night, and somehow the topic of the podcast got brought up. And and she was like, when we first started this, they were so embarrassed, like, oh, I cannot believe, don't tell my friends you're doing a podcast. And now they're like, well, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, you're always kind of famous.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, but, we really do. We appreciate all the support we're getting. We're sorry that we missed last week. The one thing that we do want to always be is consistent and show up every Sunday and do our show. There's going to be things that happen, just like what happened last week, and, we had to miss, but we appreciate the continued support. And of course, you can check us out on our social media after we just talked about social media and it's the devil for the past hour. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We will upload this tonight on YouTube. You can check us out there. Remember to go and subscribe to mine and JD's individual YouTube channels, as well as the Just Add Bourbon podcast channel, so that JD and I have to embarrass ourselves and eat a Carolina Reaper here live on the show. And yeah, you can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and of course Podbean. That's where we launch everything from. And JD, as we always end our show, from myself and from you, no matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you all this week.